All right. So I'm back already. I couldn't even go 2 days. Right? You'll have to forgive me. The plan was to go live in the members area, but I became so upset, so infuriated, and I just felt like this message needed to be said to everybody. It wasn't really one of those types of subjects that I would deal in private in the member area. This needs to be said loud. This is bad, people. We're dealing with dangerous times right now. We are as backwards as we've ever been. For whatever reason, this dog nut culture in particular, but really the whole planet, we're backwards. We do almost everything the opposite of how we're supposed to. And I don't understand this at all. I mean, backwardness in every element of society. Nobody should have to preach a sermon titled "Protect Your Family from Dogs." Protect your family from anything. This is not something you're supposed to remind people. You don't have to remind animals. You don't have to remind insects. It's an instinct to protect their family. So why is it that only humans have a problem with this? Why is it only dog nuts? How is it that they're going completely against their natural instincts? And how is it that nobody is calling it out? This is a huge disservice to humanity itself. Give me one moment. I need to grab some water. Give me one moment. Okay, excuse me. Sorry about that. This is extreme backwardness. Now, as I've said many times, a lot of people don't believe me. I am an admirer of animals, natural animals. And, I'm fascinated by lions, the family aspect of lions. Very similar to humans in many ways. For example, the male eats first. The male eats first. He needs energy the most. He patrols a large area. He fights first. He's the defender. He eats first. And he will chase off all of the women, all of the lioness. But he allows his cubs to eat with him. He will chase off the lioness, and he'll only allow his cubs to eat on the kill with him. The lion is significantly larger than the lioness. He's bigger and stronger. The lion is very deadly. Very deadly. the male can really easily kill the female, right? I don't know how many of you heard this, but check this out.
Hey guys, this is Alex Farnham, and this is Animalist News for November 19th, 2013. Sad stuff here, folks. Last Sunday afternoon at the Dallas Zoo, a male lion unexpectedly killed a lioness by biting its neck. What's even more shocking is that this happened in front of visitors. Johari, the 5-year-old lioness, had recently celebrated her birthday with a frozen cake. Almost 100 people were present and even sang her happy birthday. The zoo is now investigating the reason for the surprising and lethal attack. VP of Operations at the zoo, Lynn Kramer, states, "This is a very rare and unfortunate occurrence. In my 35 years as a veterinarian in zoos, I've never seen this happen." Onlookers, including families, thought that the lions were playing at first. But then when the male lion backed away from Johari, who was no longer moving, it was then that people realized what had happened.
Okay. So the onlookers thought that they were playing. But when the male let go and backed away, they saw that he had killed the lioness. The lion had killed the lioness. Don't know if you've ever seen this video. Check this out. Let me see. Now, I increased the speed. This lion kills this lioness. Killed her for absolutely no reason at all. Really killed her just because he didn't have anything else to do. He looked very bored. And, he's just looking around. And then he attacked her. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is the end. Okay, he's killed her. Now, they're using water hoses now. You see them up there? They're spraying water on it. So, this was a totally different moment, right? In this news report, there were onlookers, and they didn't know that she was dead until the lion backed off. My point is, male lions can essentially easily kill a lioness. They're just too big. Now, you know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this.
It's as though he's stalking prey, pushing forward as silently and stealthily as he can.
Can y'all see that? I hope it's not lagging.
Oh, here comes. My goodness, tell me she's attacked him.
You see that?
Go for it, girl. Go for it, girl.
When that lioness is protecting her cubs, she don't care. They don't care. And this is a pattern. This is a pattern. And what you notice is, even though the males can kill the lioness the males usually don't want no smoke. They usually will back off, even if it's a stranger to the pride. The male will back off. I've seen 2 males back off one lioness before because she was protecting her cubs. This is an instinct. This is probably the second strongest instinct, or really the first. The first strongest instinct is the instinct to survive. And this is a part of our survival instinct, to protect our youth. Look at this.
Close to the cubs. It's not one Nathan recognizes. Rose is not taking any chances.
Now, that was just light discipline. Few scratches and it's over with. The thing you want to take note here is that is her sister. Sister. So no matter who it is, even if it's a sibling, the instinct to protect the young is so powerful. Everybody is on high alert. Nobody is safe. It's only with dog nuts. Not only do they refuse to protect their young, they go out of their way to endanger their young. And they do it with predators. They bring the predators around their young, cross their fingers, and simply hope that it doesn't attack them. They simply hope that they've fed it enough times where the dog won't attack their child. And I just wanted to emphasize, like, look, I'm not asking people to invent the wheel. This is a basic human instinct that through propaganda, you've been desensitized to. Totally lost touch with your natural instincts. That should frighten you. I also read this article, surfaced today, a few hours ago, but the actual attack took place in October. 9-year-old boy, I reported this. It turns out he had 75 bites all over his body. And I can't even imagine being bitten 75 times. They didn't say 75 puncture wounds. 75 full teeth marks, closely missing both his jugular vein and windpipe. Right? Horrific injuries. Over 6 hours of surgery. Over 200 stitches on his arms, face, legs, and neck. And more than 40 staples on his skull. Only dog nuts create the condition. They knowingly create the conditions for this to happen. They know full well that exactly this can happen. And they take the chance anyways because they don't care. The only thing they care about is the presence of the dog. They don't care about the death of their child. Dog nuts, you're not going to be in denial about this. You're going to admit this. And even those of you who care about your kids, you care about the dog more. You're not willing to protect your children. You're not willing to get rid of the dog to ensure your children are not attacked by the dog. You're sacrificing the child to the dog. And now you're so far gone that you literally need somebody to tell you to follow your natural instincts. See, this is bad. When you have an intelligent organism that's not even aware that they're going against their natural instinct because it no longer feels like an instinct. They've been going against it for so long, you know, like I said, they're desensitized. Surgeons had to put his muscles in his legs and arm back together. He had multiple skull fractures near the temporal bone behind his left ear. They compared dog attack victims to shark attack victims. Doesn't this sound like a shark attack? There is no other method of torture that I can think of that is as horrific and painful as this, as traumatizing as this, being stabbed multiple times and just shredded apart. And you dog nuts are willing to take the chance of this happening to your child. Why? Because you want to rub on a dog that much. You want to rub on the very thing that's threatening your family. Now look at this article. This article, you know, it got me going. I was upset. They said the boy is emotionally, mentally, and physically scarred. The medical costs are overwhelming at this point. They need your help. All donations go directly to his medical expenses and for Hunter's recovery. And in the actual article, they have this photo of this mutt. Can y'all tell me why they would include this photo in a story like this? Doesn't this seem like their way of celebrating the sacrifice? You got to understand, when they look at dogs, they regularly are physically attracted to them. They call them handsome and beautiful. And they wanted to include what they regularly consider beautiful, a photo of this dog in this same article. Doesn't this sound satanic to you? Does this not sound satanic and devilish to you? Right? Shout out to Missy May in the super chat 2 times. Shout out to Morpheus Christus in the super chat. Can you, is it just me? Isn't that disturbing? Why would you include a photo of a dog at all? And they wanted to include an image of a dog exactly how it would look moments before the child was attacked. This is what the child saw. Moments before he was attacked. and you want to share that image. And as always, you notice the article simply ends talking about how, medical expenses are piling up there. They could use some help with the bills. Our condolences, we feel horrible about this. On to other news. Let's not have a discussion about how we can prevent this from happening in the future. No, we're not going to talk about that. No matter how many times this happens, we're not going to have that discussion. Because you see, fines, all these fines that they give them, that's not punishment. Excuse me. That's not a preventative measure. That is administered only after the attack has happened. And how valuable is it if you've been scarred for life? You could very well look deformed, quite deformed, to the point where you're no longer confident. You can't put a price tag on that. Lifetime trauma. You don't respond to something like that with a few dollars. That is not a method to prevent this from happening in the future. This is so sad that people have to convince you, dog nuts, to protect your family. Protect your family from predators. If any of you have the nerve to consider yourself intellectually advanced, evolved, or anything like that, excuse me if I laugh in your face. This is shameful. Now, this is that story that's been talked about, multiple articles about the 10-year-old boy who was killed. And one of the reasons this story has gone viral is because, like I've been talking about for a long time here, a boy or girl at age 10 takes longer to die. It is a very prolonged torture. It's a slow death. And that's what makes this so traumatic. And again, how on earth could you take the chance of this happening to your child? All because you want to rub on that mutt? The same thing you sacrificed their safety for? Right now, I don't know how many of you have heard this. It's real short. Check this out.
The attack happened at this house on this estate near Caerphilly. The boy, who's now been named as Jack Liss, had gone to his friends to play after school. Neighbours say they first realised something was terribly wrong when they heard a commotion outside.
There was children screaming. Everybody was out in the street. We just seen there was a lot of police cars and ambulances.
Despite a rapid response, the police say the 10-year-old boy could not be saved. The dog was destroyed by marksmen. People living around here have told me they used to see the dog in the street, and they described it as a scary-looking animal that resembled a pit bull, but they stress they don't know what type of breed it was. That is now a focus of the police investigation. Officers...
Isn't this pathetic that you have a nation full of grown men, full of fathers, who's supposed to pride themselves on being a protector? Isn't this pathetic that you have these people standing around talking about trying to figure out the breed? Talking about whether or not it's a banned breed? As if that matters. As if that's what's important. Whether or not it was on the banned list. knowing full well that the dogs that are not banned are just as dangerous and deadly. So this is not a solution. This is not a preventative measure. Talking about breed. And I'm quite sure, now this is in the UK, I don't know for sure, but in several places they have these laws. It has to be a pit bull, can't be a cross or a mix or anything like that. So it can be a bully breed. As long as it's not a pit bull, oh, you can have that. Isn't it pathetic you have nations full of men behaving like this? How backwards, how shameful. That is so shameful. You're not even a protector. Don't project yourself as a protector simply because you are in the military, because you joined the Army or Marines. Because how can you protect a country and you can't even protect your family? You know, they have these radars, you know, Doppler radars or whatever. Not Doppler, that's the weather. And, you know, if they can't identify aerial traffic, you can't even come near the White House. So you have that strong of a protective instinct or function in the world for a White House, for a building, for somebody you're not even related to, but you don't have that same protective energy for your family? No, you don't. If you're a dog nut, no, you don't. So this is sad. Talking about the breed.
Say it will take time to establish all the facts.
Take time to establish if it was a pit bull or not.
It's not possible for me to formally identify the breed of dog at this current time.
So you can't say whether it was banned under the Dangerous Dogs Act?
That's correct. So
who cares? The boy is dead. It's obviously dangerous enough to kill. So what difference does it make? It does not feel like I'm communicating with other men. Where is this protective instinct? You know, the one that all mammals have, that all living creatures have. Insects, literally insects, bugs will fight tooth and nail to protect their. That's how much nature itself built it into us. Do y'all understand how dangerous this is? This level of backwardness. And you claim to be intellectually advanced? Do you understand? If the instinct to protect your young is so powerful that all other living organisms will risk their life protecting their young, how is it that humans do the exact opposite? How is that? And it's not even coded. It's overt. This level of endangerment is overt. Unbelievable.
that will be formally done by an expert witness, a dog legislation officer.
As flowers were laid in tribute, Jack's mother made an emotional post on Facebook describing her son as a sweet, sweet boy. This close-knit community is deeply traumatized.
We had tea last night and then had to break the sad news to them, and it was, well, devastating.
Forensic officers are still at the property gathering evidence. Police say a significant presence will remain here whilst they continue their investigations. Alex Rossi.
Oh, that's very unfortunate. But once again, it's like, oh, somebody just had a heart attack. Oh, like something happened that nobody can prevent. Utter madness. And as always, Nobody suggested to the public that they get rid of their dog. Like, hey, look, I love dogs, but after this, I will never own a dog again. Isn't this the most obvious thing to say? And y'all notice how they look at it as like a sin to make that statement? These dog nuts view it as a sin. If a former dog nut was to say that, they would be attacked left and right on social media. There would be hundreds of attacks if they were to get up there and say, look, after this, I will never own a dog again, and I highly advise everyone who owns a dog, or at the very least, they would say everyone who owns a pit bull, a bully breed, a large dog, get rid of them. You notice how none of these people do that? They might say pit bulls, but they will never go all out and say dogs. These people worship dogs. This is worship. And they have made their level of value they have for dogs, they've made it obviously superior to the value they have for their kids. So we are at ground zero. And at ground zero, you have to tell the most intelligent organisms on Earth to do something as basic as protect your family. Now, this story about this boy, this is where this gets nasty and ugly. Y'all with me so far? I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with the chat. This is one of those live streams where I'm going. This was so disturbing. So disturbing. This story actually sparked an article. Okay? Y'all with me? This story about this 10-year-old boy who was killed, it sparked an article. And this is the article. It's titled, Serious Surgeries on the Rise After Dog Attacks, According to NHS Figures, UK. Right? Now, this happened in the UK. So, you know, this boy, this was in the UK. And this is in the UK. And this story surfaced today. Jack Liss, that's this boy. Jack Liss was killed by a pit bull type dog, nicknamed Beast. The dog was sold online just days before the attack, over fears it was so ferocious it would go for other animals. So the sellers knew that it was aggressive. New figures for NHS England last year show how widespread they put, here they go again, animal attacks. This is the sickening part. Even in the reports, even in the articles where they're talking about an attack, even talking about preventative measures, they still make it a point to protect the image of dogs by not using dogs repeatedly in the articles. This is a real psychological manipulative tactic. I want people to be clear about that. They do this, they use the word animals interchangeably with dogs on purpose. That is by design, so that you don't get programmed to view dogs in a negative way. Widespread, on average, there were 8 procedures per day. Now, this is in the UK. And I know their population is significantly smaller than United States. I'm not too familiar. on how prevalent dog attacks are in the UK compared to the United States. I know a lot of people from the UK follow this channel. If you could educate us more, that would be great. 8 procedures per day. Now that's serious, people. That's 8 reconstructive surgeries per day. And listen, the UK population is significantly lower than the United States. 8 procedures a day, including skin repair or reconstructive surgery. Look at this. Look at this. The greatest number, 380, was carried out on babies and toddlers under 5 years old. So that babies and toddlers under 5 make up the greatest percentage of victims. Can you believe this? Can you believe that there are a nation full of fathers and men who allow this, who actually create the conditions for this to happen? Now, let me include mothers. Forgive me. Because that motherly instinct to protect is powerful. I gave an example with the lioness. I just get into the habit of dealing with men. I'm a man. But mothers too. What is this? The largest percentage of victims are carried out on babies and toddlers under 5 years old, and you still want to project these things as members of the family, as no different from kids? This is, oh man. Look, this article continued. Children aged 5 to 9 was the second largest group. Now, people in the United States, children from 5 to 9 make up the largest group. And you telling me over there in the UK, it's actually from 5 on down? And there's still no pushback? No. It's time to wake up. It is time to wake up the good people in the world. The good people in the world. No, this cannot continue. And if you're a dog nut, you listening to this, and you've never reflected on this, and you remain a dog nut, I have some advice for you that I'm not going to share, just to be on the safe side. Children aged 5 to 9 was the second largest group. In 10 years, the number of plastic surgery operations after dog attacks has increased by 14%. In 10 years, that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Look at this. In this same article, my goodness, people, keep in mind, this article that we're dealing with here was triggered by this story where this boy was attacked and killed. Went over a friend's house, attacked and killed. It triggered this article, and look at what they wrote. This is the advice they gave in this article. Keep in mind, look, they started the article off talking about him. Use his name. Article is essentially about him. And look what they wrote. It's incredibly important that owners ensure that their dogs are properly cared for and are happy and healthy. Can you believe? Can you believe they wrote that? And they wasn't done. Oh, it attacked you because you're not taking care of it. So it's not happy. Providing the right training and positive experiences will help shape well-rounded, friendly dogs. So you don't want the dog to attack you. You have to train it to not attack you. You have to provide positive experiences, whatever that is supposed to mean. What is that supposed to mean? Provide the dogs with a positive experience? What does that mean? That when it gets around people, they feed it? They give it something? It's nothing but a leech? What is this? Where in order for our kids to not be attacked, we have to accommodate on our hands and knees, accommodate these dogs, bend over backwards to make sure they have positive experiences. They continue. This is the advice. They said it's crucial that people, specifically children, learn how to have positive interactions with dogs and understand their body language and behavior. Parents should always supervise children. So in response to this boy being killed, they proceed to blame children for being attacked. They were misbehaving. You need to learn how to have positive interactions with dogs. Those are the only types of interactions kids have with dogs. Kids don't attack dogs. They hug them. They kiss them. We don't care what the dog thinks about that. We're human. To have this discussion is offensive. This discussion itself is offensive. And people, again, this surfaced today. I'm always pointing this out. I can't even remember how many articles I've pointed this out, how they always revert back to blaming the children for being attacked, even though I've shown on all my videos. Every attack that I've read about in an article, that I've shown on film, none of them showed a dog reacting to being harassed. None of them showed a child putting a dog under stress. I mean, none of them. And they still regurgitate this talking point without any evidence whatsoever to substantiate it. None whatsoever. And these are the so-called experts. And this is why they refuse to come on this channel, to come on this show, to respond, to debate. They refuse, they never will. Good. Good. You should feel inept, like a degenerate. You went to school for what? 4, 6, 8 years, only to graduate to be this dumb? This article continued. It says, no matter how well behaved your dog is, never leave it alone with your child. Carefully monitor interactions and intervene before worrying situations escalate. Injuries caused by dogs can be extremely distressing, but it's important to remember that the majority of people live harmoniously with their dogs. And that's the end of the article. What difference does that make? The majority can be 60%. It can be 55%. If 45% of all dogs are attacking, you telling me I should find comfort in the 55% that are not? People, oh my goodness, People, I need help on this one. I'm sorry, I gotta tap out. I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out. This is like overload. This is overload. There's this stupidity overload here. This is disgusting. It's important to remember that the majority of people live harmoniously with their dogs. So don't complain. Just teach your child how to behave. Man, this is so infuriating.
Well, tonight, a tragic story here of what can go wrong when dogs roam off the leash. WCNC Charlotte's Bill McGinty is going to introduce us to a family who says that 2 neighbor dogs were harassing them, and the outcome was deadly. As he found out, if you are a dog owner, know that if your dog bites, you could be financially responsible.
Yeah, many people are under the false impression that their dog can bite for the first time without serious consequence. That is not true. As an owner, it is up to you to protect other people, and in doing so, you will protect your dog in the process.
I got 2 pit bulls.
You will protect your dog in the process. In other words, you will protect your dog from being euthanized for attacking someone. So their primary concern is not the human victim. It's the dog being euthanized. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this game for what it is? Let me play that again.
Time without serious consequence. That is not true. As an owner, it is up to you to protect other people, and in doing so, you will protect your dog in the process.
Yeah, we heard that right. Protect the dog in the process. That's the focal point.
I got 2 pit bulls in my yard that belong to my neighbor. They're attacking me and my dog.
That stressful 911 call was a prelude of the minutes to come for Fred Herman. What started with a simple, familiar walk to go down and look at the nearby cows quickly escalated.
They've attacked my daughter and my granddaughter.
And I was walking down the road, and the dog came and was like growling, almost bit me. I had to literally throw my 3-year-old daughter on my shoulder and kick one of these dogs.
Fred says he heard screaming. After the first 911 call, he says the dogs came back. Fred said he was forced to protect himself and his family. The emotion of the events heard in this second 911 call.
I need the police here. I have just shot the 2 dogs that were attacking me in my yard.
You have shot the 2 dogs that were in your yard?
Oh, yeah, but one of them's in my driveway dead.
And I stepped out onto our porch, and when I did, immediately both of the dogs started to come after me. And at that point, I had no other choice. I shot the first dog.
In the minutes that followed, both dogs would be shot and eventually die. Animal control has had many complaints about neighbor dogs roaming onto Fred's property. Many citations were issued to the dog's owners. The last 2 years were a tragedy in the making.
Now, these citations are worthless. They're worthless. You have to do what this man did. But don't find yourself without a weapon. Don't be another victim.
Bill, this is not the ending that I wanted to have.
The Hermans were fearful, and with good...
Why is this not the ending you want? If they live, they will continue to terrorize the community. This is part of the insanity. It's dog nuts. They can't snap out of it. Even when they're confronted with deadly pit bulls, if they're forced to kill them, this is not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. Yeah, but you're enjoying a safer community. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? These people are so out of touch with reality. It's scary.
Reason their daughter, who fought off one or both dogs that night, was attacked by a dog herself when she was a little girl. The scars still very visible today, more than 20 years later. So the question tonight, how exposed are you if your dog bites? Here's attorney Brett Dressler.
The biggest myths in North Carolina and most other states is that you get the 1 free bite rule. And I'm here to tell you that that's just a myth. If you have reason to think that your dog might bite somebody because it's gone out and tried to bite a neighbor or tried to bite a friend or tried to bite a family member, then you're on notice that your dog's a danger to the community and you have an obligation to restrain that animal. And if you don't, you're going to end up paying for it.
In this case,
You're going to end up paying for it. Paying money is what he's talking about.
the dogs themselves paid that price. No charges were filed against Fred Herman for taking what he...
That's right, because he was within his rights to shoot him. Now, I've talked about this one free bite law. We talked about that. The Kenneth, the dog bite lawyer, wrote a good article about it. They had that rule here in Ohio, okay? And what this guy said is a lie. Here, let me play it again.
Here's attorney Brett Dressler.
The biggest myths in North Carolina and in most other states is that you get the one free bite rule. And I'm here to tell you that that's just a myth. If you have reason to think that your dog...
No, it's not a myth. It's not a myth. Now, you hear what he proceeded to say after that, right? Listen.
If you have reason to think that your dog might bite somebody...
You have to have reason if you have reason. So, in other words, if the dog has tried to attack another dog or has tried to attack someone or actually did, then they say that that was your sign, that you were then made aware of its aggressive behavior. And from that point forward, if it attacks someone, you're liable. But if you've never seen any aggression ever from that mutt gets one free bite. And that's exactly what this attorney said, but they went so fast and they just tried to project it as if you're always going to be liable. Or if the dog nut's always going to... No, be aware of the laws here.
You get the one free bite rule. And I'm here to tell you that that's just a myth. If you have reason to think that your dog might bite somebody because it's gone out and tried to bite a neighbor or tried to bite a friend or tried to bite a family member, then you're on notice that your dog's a danger to the community. And
yeah, you're on notice.
You have an obligation to restrain that animal.
You got an obligation to restrain it, and nobody can restrain them. Not you. Not the buffest man in the gym. Stop leaving it into the hands of the general public to physically restrain powerful, large predators. It's so sad that anybody has to say this. You should feel, it's sad that you don't feel embarrassed, that someone has to tell you this. Don't you want to know what it feels like to be a man? You've clearly never had that feeling of being a true man. You cannot be in touch with manhood, with being a father, if you're not willing to protect your kids from dogs. And that means not letting dogs anywhere near your kids. See, it starts in the home. And when enough fathers are on that page, now the whole community wants dogs out of here. Now the whole city, the whole state, so on and so forth. That's when you know that people's minds are in the right place. Right now, the world is completely backwards. Completely backwards. Man, we have to snap out of this. Now, this was the story that inspired the other, I think it was the most recent live stream that I did. Remember, I read this whole story, but this is the video format of it, right? Now, I want y'all to check this out.
Just days after a dog was released from the custody of Vaughn Animal Services, it bit a 13-year-old boy in the face, leaving him with 35 stitches. It happened at this Taekwondo studio on Bloor near Dover Court shortly after the victim, Muhammad, had taken a class.
Master Johan came in and asked me if I'm scared of dogs. And I said, yes, I'm scared of dogs. And he took a T-bone, put it over as a dog. And then he told me you have to overcome your fears, and if you don't, you're not gonna be a Taekwondo national champion. So I got closer to the dog, and I looked at him, and then he jumped on my face and bit it.
Yeah, y'all remember I shared this the other day? His Taekwondo instructor said, "Are you afraid of dogs?" He said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Well, you got to get over your fear of dogs if you ever want to be a champion." So the boy got closer to the dog, and the dog attacked him, bit his face. If the parents are not willing to protect you, kids, you have to protect yourself. You have to take matters into your own hands. Don't let any, and I know this is going to be difficult for any child to do, but I'm telling you now, don't let any adult tell you that you need to get over your fear of dogs. Don't let any adult tell you that you should be around dogs. No. Force them to protect you. Force them. Tell them, no. I'm scared of dogs. It might bite me. No, no, no. If you feel like your safety is being jeopardized, it's a human right that threat needs to be removed. And this is an alien threat that serves no function in our society. It's unnecessary. It doesn't have to be here. Understand that. Don't let anybody tell you need to overcome your fear. The same adults that's telling you that, they will be mutilated by a dog as well. Not even they will be able to stop a worthless mutt from killing them. If they can't protect themselves, you don't have to trust that they're going to protect you from that worthless mutt. Once you get around them, it's totally up to that dog whether or not you get mutilated.
Yes, he spoke with the county police chief within the last hour, and we are learning more about the circumstances that led up to this fatal incident. The chief telling me that the family did take an astray to this home just here behind me. The chief says the family had been feeding the dog rather regularly and found the animal to be friendly. That dog taken in by the family within the last few days. The kindness, though, leading to tragedy yesterday morning. The family's newborn baby was killed. The infant, just 8 days old and reportedly attacked by a female pit bull. Johnson County Animal Control seized the dog. It hasn't yet been euthanized, but I'm being told it will be put down. Police investigating this incident as an accident.
There you go. They're investigating it as an accident. Now, I wanted to point this out because this is really bad. This is a very bad look. I've criticized the way they consider these cases accidents before, but this case is different because those other so-called accidents were by the family dog, oftentimes that they've raised from a puppy. This was a stray. This was a stray dog that they just brought into the home. So how could the courts, how could anyone believe that they had created a family or atmosphere inside their home such that they should reasonably not expect the dog to attack the children? If it's a grown stray mutt, how can you also consider that an accident? As if it's just as unreasonable for the dog to attack as it would be if you raised the dog from a puppy, which is really there's no difference. But that alone tells you that this is by design. This was no accident. You bring in a stray dog. Again, people the endangerment laws say that you are guilty of reckless endangerment if you create a dangerous hazardous environment where you're demonstrating carelessness. How much more careless could you get than this? Bringing in a lethal predator, a stray dog, into the home. And you telling me, so these people were allowed to kill their daughter and no charges, nothing? This is how it goes. This is a blood sacrifice, a sacrificial cult built into the system itself. It's built into the laws. A grown man, you yourself, you go out and you kill a child, you're going to prison. If you even make it there. You make it there, you're going to be in a lot of trouble by the inmates. But if you kill a child via allowing a dog to kill it, not only is that okay and acceptable, no charges, not only that, here, make you a GoFundMe. You can get off scot-free if you let the dog. Do y'all understand that murders can be orchestrated like this? Murders of children of parents who may be having a rough time financially. And it sets it up perfectly, because once the child is gone, the child can't then tell you, mommy locked me in a room with the dog. Huh? This is set up in the laws. Just for that alone, the type of loophole that this creates, the power it gives dog nuts to do something like that. This is an outrage. This is an absolute outrage. This is so dangerous and criminal. Unbelievable. Man, oh man. Shout out to Rufus Green in the super chat. People, please sign the petition. Listen, and expect me to get on at any time. I don't care what time of day or night. Because if I'm feeling it, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to talk about it. There's so much that need to be said here. This is a video that surfaced in India. And what are y'all doing over there in India? What are y'all doing over there? You got all those stray mutts. Why aren't you culling these things? You know what it is? These stupid movies like Clifford the Big Red Mutt and stuff like that. You're too scared of Westerners. That's what you're doing. And you're sacrificing your kids because you don't want to upset the dog nuts. When are the good people going to take over? You cannot trust these things. Stray or family. They're all the same no matter where they live. Now look at all these adults trying to keep a distance between themselves and the dogs. Look at all the adults. They still scared to go over there. Y'all see that? If all those adults are scared to intervene when there's only 2 dogs, how can you claim it's safe to have one of them inside of a home where children are? When you know full well, if that mutt attacks, you're going to have a bunch of adults just like this, looking goofy, picking up little sticks. This man got a little worthless stick. You're going to be fumbling around like an idiot, absolutely worthless and helpless, unable to do anything but watch the victim bleed to death. Everything about this dog nut culture is stupid. Dog leashes are stupid. All the preventative measures they got is stupid. All these fines, these sanctions. Based on the facts, the only thing that makes sense as far as how humans relate to dogs, the only thing that makes sense is euthanization. That's the only thing that makes sense. Anything less than that, you're sacrificing millions of kids, millions of people. I don't want to get attacked either. Elderly people. Anything less than getting rid of these things from the face of the planet is sacrificing us. And you can't say that about any other animal. You allow any other animal to exist on this planet, it's not going to mean that we're going to be sacrificed, because no other animal is currently attacking us. Only dogs. And those dogs prefer to attack, and attack, majority of the time, attack your kids. So it's a very basic, very simple message. Protect your family from dogs. Protect them from dogs. It is a shame that anybody has to tell you this. And if you don't want to protect your family from dogs, kids, I encourage you to protect yourself. They cannot stop you from wanting to be safe. No. They cannot tell you that you have to be comfortable in the presence of a killer. Something that can kill you anytime it wants. And when it decides to do it, there's nothing you can do about it. No, you don't have to be comfortable in the presence of something like that. You cannot train them. No matter what, they will always revert back to their natural instincts. And all it takes is something very minor to trigger those instincts. A loud noise, you move too fast, you make a funny sound. Protect yourself out there. Now I feel a whole lot better. That was therapeutic. That was therapeutic. I feel a whole lot better. This is so therapeutic, man. I don't know, these articles that surface on a daily basis, and people, y'all keep up with this, with the news here. I don't know how many people really keep up with the news, but if you keep up with it, you notice how there are dozens of articles written on a daily basis. It don't even make no sense. Like, how can you possibly think of that many topics to write about dogs in? Like, what are these people doing? Like, how is it even possible? Here, let me show you something here. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. These people's obsession is scary at this point. It's scary. We've allowed them to get too far with this. This is filtered for the past 24 hours, people. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 articles on each page. And there's at least 10 pages. Within the past 24 hours, they've written at least 100. They've written more. You see that? There's 19 pages. A good 10 articles per page. 21 pages. So in the past 24 hours, they've written 2,100 articles about dogs. This is like a drug addiction. It's like a crack addiction. These people are obsessed. We know a large chunk of them are intimate with these things. So you can't talk sense into them. You can't talk sense into a person who is intimate, physically intimate with dogs. Right? It is going to take people in power. People in power. The average person is just too brainwashed. They're just too brainwashed. Unbelievable stuff. So, yeah, I just wanted to vent. I had to get that off my chest. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know why y'all listen to me ramble here. Y'all listen to me rant and rave over here. Oh, it's so therapeutic, though. It is so therapeutic. I get tension headaches. I get real bad tension headaches, man. And sometimes it's relieved after I get on here and vent a little bit. Man, oh man. We got to stay on these people's necks. We got to stay on their necks. We got to stay. Every move they make, every little move they make, people, we have to be on top of it. And I mean literally that. Every little sentence where they're trying to use the word animals instead of dogs, everything, I'm calling it out here. And I'm going to leave a long track record of their deception and their manipulative practices in this sick, satanic, devilish, demonic, subhuman, wretched, despicable cult. Should be ashamed of yourselves. So, big shout out to all of you. Y'all are so crazy. Y'all crazy sitting here listening to me so much. But we're going to get this done. We're going to get this done. And we're going to make some noise sooner than later. Right? Sooner than later. Guaranteed. As we continue with this crusade against these worthless, good-for-nothing mutants and their enabling owners.